Hey guys, Jay here, and welcome back to another video. Guys, I'm super excited because today we're going to be talking through how I heal a tier 15 Carmine Rage Island dimensional trial. And it's going to be awesome because we're going to be doing a step-by-step version of this. So essentially, I'm going to be pausing and talking through what my thought process is. If you're interested in that, keep watching. But if you just want to see the full run without any commentary, I left that at the end, so check the description below for that timestamp. But yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. So guys, Carmine Rage Island, I think is a really fun dungeon to heal because there's so many things that are heavily reliant on the healer and that you can literally carry your entire team if you do it correctly, and you can make some friends along the way, kind of like I did in this video. And so basically, before I get into this, we're going to talk about the setup. So the setup is, as you can see, we have our tank over here who has an icon above his head. And then at the very beginning, what I always recommend is whoever is taking the red orb. So if you guys know the boss mechanic, you should know it by now. But if you don't, basically the guy that's on the farthest away from the boss when he does his mechanic is basically going to get a red orb above their head. That means that person's going to be the first person that he's going to try to use his guillotine or his smash on. And so what we do is I always recommend asking, hey, who's going to be the red orb? So even if you're the healer, guys, make sure you're asking your team, communicating, saying who's going to be the red orb, and put a star above that person's head. Now, the reason why I recommend doing this is because you as the healer, it helps you determine the direction of where the boss mechanic is going to happen. And then that'll also set up your heals. So communicate with your team so that you guys know, hey, this is where this guy's at here. Everyone else will be just chilling and you'll be helping the tank on the boss. Hopefully you have a bunch of ranged guys like we do in this party. Everyone's got their food buffs up, which is really good. And so basically, guys, we're going to get into it. The beginning's pretty simple. I want you guys cycling through your deadly marker and your curses as much as you can. Also use your blitz with that, or excuse me, not your blitz, your blessed barrier with the fountain of life. As you can see, if everyone is using their deadly marker, the cooldown speeds go down super fast. And so basically you want to be cycling through these as best as you can. Now we're going to talk about exactly what I'm going to do here. So basically the boss, if he doesn't hit below 90%, he will do his rush mechanic, which is what you don't want. You want a lot of damage as possible. And so once it gets below 90%, then he'll go in his first mechanic. And that's where everything kind of starts for us as the healer. So when he does his first mechanic, which is this circle right here, I'm going to pause it because what I do is I charge my flash wave and I save my blitz. So don't use your blitz at the very beginning, right? Just use deadly marker, cycle through some of your heals, and save your flash wave. And I'll explain why. So essentially what happens is, they're going to all get sucked in with the chain to each of their pillars. And so before they hit that, I want to hit them with a flash wave. I want to hit as many DPS as possible. Tank is going to be fine. If I can hit him, great. But my goal is to hit these guys so that when they start taking constant damage, we're able to mitigate that. And as you can see, I'm going to fully charge it up and hold it as long as possible so that I can get it set up for this mechanic. Now you'll see over on the left side that I have a timer going down for my flash wave, which basically relieves a lot of pressure from us as the healer. All right, so now this next part is really important, okay? So we know where the star guy is, right? So I saw the star guy floating over here. That means that he has the red orb. And so now I'm quickly navigating, okay, who is going to have the axe above their head? Because as the healer, you need to be the one grabbing it. So I see this guy over here. He has the axe above his head. My tank is doing the right thing. He's already ran out way over here. I don't know if you can see that, but he already ran out so that he can take the spinning axe, but we are going to take the dot axe. And so how we do that is this is literally what I do every single time. And I think this will be super helpful for you guys. But essentially, okay, I see him, the star, and I also see this guy. When I go and pick up the axe, we want to be as efficient as possible. So what I do is, because I saved my blitz from previous, if you have your flash wave up, great, you don't have to blitz right away. But because I had blitz up, I'm able to use that and then charge my flash wave up and see what I do here. I basically try to get whoever I'm taking the dot from and I try to hit the far guy over here who's not the star, and I'll explain why in a second. I hit these two guys so they get a constant heal while I'm taking the dot above my head. And essentially, because I know that the star is going to be hit first, and I know that the direction of the whole boss mechanic is going this way because this guy had the dot above his head, I'm going to immediately rotate around the circle to my two guys over here. And I don't even have to worry about 4 and 3 because I hit them with a flash wave. Now, and I know this is really fast paced, guys, but now I see that my star is over here with my other guy in the pillar. So what I do now is I use Fountain of Life to give these guys a constant heal. Sometimes I'll throw down a Blessed Barrier if they're taking a little bit too much damage. And then basically I give whoever the star is the dot axe right away. I don't care if he's going to do it or if he's going to take damage because I threw Fountain of Life on. The reason why I do this is so that he's the first one stunned. That means he's the first one that he can get out and hopefully pass it to the tank or pass it to someone else. And so you'll see this interaction right here. So I give him Fountain of Life. I give him the dot if I'm able to. This was, I don't know if this was a bug or what happened, but I'm floating over this guy. You guys saw it. And for whatever reason, it connected to this guy. So if it ever happens like that, don't freak out, guys. You have enough heals in your kit to help these guys out. Sometimes people on the pillar, when they get the dot axe above their head, they start freaking out and the whole mechanic is lost. So encourage your DPS. Tell them literally, hey, if you get the axe above your head, I got you. I'm going to prepare for that. And so how we do that is I'm going to essentially give him a little bit of extra heals by utilizing not extra heals, but I'm going to utilize my invincible wall there, and I'm going to stick near him just in case he takes a little bit more damage than I'm expecting. As you saw, this guy ran over here, and I'm able to make sure that he's all good. However, because I had the flash wave on him, he's pretty much at full health. But as I'm going through this, I'm sorry, guys, I'm pausing so much, but I really want to explain this for you. So basically, now that we know the direction of the entire boss mechanic, basically, we're going to rotate with that, and we're going to help every single person that comes in danger. Basically, when they move off of their chain, they're going to take a lot of damage. So all we do simply is we rotate over to that person, and I like to get them at full health again. This guy's taking heat too, so basically, if he's taking a lot of damage, guys, you basically just want to be able to use your heal spells as they rotate around the circle. And so pay attention to, he does 4 boss hits, right? Or 4 guillotine hits. And so basically feel free to use most of your heals at the end if people are not at full health, because again, in this dungeon, people get really antsy if they have like half health, and they'll start messing up the mechanics because they're worried about survivability. It's your job as the healer to make sure that they're always topped off. And so basically, guys, after this happens, right? Essentially, you're always going to get the spinning axe. It's either you or the star guy are always going to get the spinning axe. And I apologize, I'm on Xbox, and so my camera angle is just terrible, and this is what I have to deal with. But essentially, you're going to get the spinning axe, or the star guy is going to get it, and all you need to do is rotate around the back. And so we're just going to kind of run this here until the next mechanic. Essentially, I want to be, essentially spamming my heals. Normally, I don't want to spam my abilities. However, when we're in a static stage like this, where people aren't going to be taking a whole lot of damage, then I'm just going to be using most of my heals. I should be using Nature's Blessing here, but for whatever reason, I just didn't think of it. Okay, so now that we're moving into the rush mechanic, I want to talk about the next thing. So essentially, there's a couple ways you can do this. And remember, there are 2 rush mechanics before it goes back to the chain mechanic, right? And so for the very first rush mechanic, what I'd like for you guys to try out, or to make sure you try to do, is to try to prep your heals for when he does the final spinning attack, which happens right here. So essentially, right, what happens is he'll spin in a circle. He's got that square indicator letting us know, guys, you've run this dungeon before. You know exactly what I'm talking about. People get wiped here more than like anything else, I feel like. And it's a really easy mechanic. All you have to do is a Q block for you guys on PC, and then us, it's left bumper. But really, you guys need to prepare for this because people mess this up more than you would think. And so what you can do to mitigate that is a couple things. One, if you have Flash Wave up, which I do, and I just don't use it because I just forgot about it. But what I typically do if I don't have Flash Wave up, I will always throw my Invincible Wall down first, right? So I throw Invincible Wall right before this mechanic happens, and then I get ready to dodge. So I always roll into the boss or roll into as many teammates as possible. And then I automatically use Clay Salvation if I see someone's health drop. If someone's health drops, that means they missed the mechanic and we need to heal them right away because they'll take a lot of damage. And so you see Invincible Wall comes up. Someone took damage right here. So I don't care if it's only a little bit of damage. If they've taken damage, I'm automatically, I wish this thing wouldn't do that. I automatically am going to use Clay Salvation to heal everyone up. And I'm going to focus this guy to make sure that he does not die by using Swift Healing on top of that. So you'll see Clay Salvation comes up, it'll save him. And then I have Swift Healing to be able to save him from that mechanic. Now, that's a really tough thing to do, but I want you guys to get in the habit of Invincible Wall, dodge, Clay Salvation. If you have Flash Wave up, you can replace Invincible Wall with Flash Wave, which is more effective overall, but sometimes I'm just using Flash Wave on cooldown during this phase, and so sometimes I just don't have it, and I should probably prep a little bit better. So yeah, basically, that's how we're going to roll with that first one. Now, as it gets into the second one, it's going to be a little bit different. So we're still going to be doing the Invincible Wall and the Clay Salvation combo that I'm talking about, but if you have Flash Wave up for the second rush mechanic, I want you guys to save it, and I'll explain why. Because after the second mechanic, he jumps right into the chain mechanic, which is where Flash Wave becomes the most valuable. All right, so now he's going to go into this again. I'm going to watch all these health bars because, I mean, you know, sometimes I'm not saying I'm perfect, but a lot of the time I am hitting this dodge, so I'm not too worried about it. But sometimes guys will miss it, and Clay Salvation and Invincible Wall come in clutch here. So if you guys watch this, basically I use my Invincible Wall. I see, okay, this guy missed his block again. So right away, I'm going to charge up my Clay Salvation so that I can save him, and then also use Swift Healing as well. So Clay Salvation comes in. I think his bow spec, you know, procced as well because he hit low health, which helps us, which I'm fine with. But now I'm going to talk about this circle. Okay, so the circle pops up right after the second rush mechanic, and right after the circle ends, that means he's going into his chain mechanic, which again, we're just going to go right back to what we were doing on the very first one, where I'm going to be charging up my Flash Wave, and I want to make sure I have Blitz up as well. And you see why exactly what I do. And this is where, again, where we shine. So essentially, I see all my teammates are grouped. He does a circle mechanic, so I'll dodge this, and then immediately I'm going to charge up my Flash Wave so that I can hit as many people. Even though this guy is low health, I'm not going to use Swift Healing because I'm going to heal him up with Flash Wave. And now everyone's going to go to their respective positions. As you can see, again, we have a timer going down on everyone's Flash Wave, which is awesome. That gives everyone a little bit of breathing room. It relieves pressure off of us. And we still have Blitz to work with for when we want to use it again. So again, I quickly identify, okay, my star guy's over here. He called it with an X2, which is helpful. And then essentially, yeah, so essentially, we're going to go to this guy with the dot, right? Which is totally fine. So we go to the guy with the dot. I look the other way because this guy, yeah, so they're calling it, which is really nice. So the guy with the star actually didn't get the red orb. So this guy over here, let me rewind just a little bit again. So this guy over here is actually being really helpful, really good communication on my team's part that he has the red orb. That means he's going to be the first hit. The axe over here is going to be the second, and it's going to rotate in a clockwise. Really important for us to know. So you guys have to try to pay attention to that as best as you can. If your team's communicating, even better. And these are random guys. Like, this is not a pre-made team, guys. This is just me joining random queue. So essentially, we go in here and we do the same thing. Wherever the guy without the red orb is, I'm going to try to hit my Flash Wave on both the guy I took the dot from and then the guy that does not have the red orb. and then rotate around, right? So I fully charged that up, able to dodge this, run all the way around. Because this guy has, he was the first one hit, I'm going to prep by throwing down a Fountain of Life, and then I'm also going to give him the dot if possible. And so basically, I had to use a quick swift heal on that too, because he was just taking a lot of damage. But I give him the dot, and then we run back around the other way because this guy's going to be taking damage too. If you guys notice, people still have their flash wave up. Someone also used a flash wave, which is helpful. But people still have my flash wave up too, so they're still getting healing from that first, or from the one I shot over here, which is, it helps relieve pressure. So again, right after that, I'm going to throw down Invincible Wall. Essentially, you're going to hit pretty much all your teammates in this area. Missed this guy over here because I was a little out of range, but I use Invincible Wall again to alleviate pressure, and I'm just going to keep rotating with whoever's going to be taking damage next from the chain mechanic. You'll notice here, and I'm going to rewind it a little bit because it went quick, I stagger my swift healing so that I can have enough for the next guys. You'll see what I mean. And this takes practice too, guys. So don't expect, you to do it right away. This is something that I practice with a lot, but I know you guys can knock it out. So essentially, I'm going to use, I have 3 swift healings, right? So I'm going to stagger it so that I get 1 more swift healing off of the guy who's going to get hit last. So you see what I mean? So I hit 1, and then I use 2. And then basically, oh, for that, okay, it looks like I didn't get to stagger it as best as I want. I think I do it later on in the run, but you can stagger your swift healing so that you have enough for the last guy to take a hit. And so basically, either way, I'm just going to run over here. I used Nature's Blessing. Someone gave him the dot, which is fine. Typically, you don't want that to happen on the last guy because he's going to take some damage. But it is what it is. And so basically, we're going to cover for him to make sure he's all good. I'm going to use most of my healing. As you guys can see, everyone's at full health, which is awesome. We're still going to take that spinning axe. It's going to be me and the guy that took the red orb. And so we don't really have to worry about the colors, which is super nice. I would still try to pay attention to them in case the game just decides to give you a color above your head. But basically, I typically always take the spinning axe. Again, the camera angle is just trash. They need to really fix that, in my opinion. But that's besides the point. And so now we're going through the next phase again, which we're going to be using Blessed Barrier. As you can see, the cooldown is just insane with everyone using Deadly Marker. I'm fine with using Flash Wave here because, again, this is just the first rush mechanic. And when we really want to save it is for the second rush mechanic or after it, right? And so essentially, again, it's going to be charging towards me, making sure you guys are on your toes in case that happens. And again, I'm going to always prep my Invincible Wall, which I did here, making sure I get as many people on as possible. And then I'm looking at the health bars. I wish I was PC because I could bring the health bars right here. But for me, I have to look over here. If someone takes a hit, then I automatically use Clay Salvation. As you guys can see, 2 people missed the mechanic. This guy, unfortunately, has missed it a couple times. But essentially, I'm going to prep my Clay Salvation, and then I'm going to use Swift Healing on this guy just to make sure he's alive. Again, I think his bow spec procced, which saved him there. But I promise you guys, if you're in that situation and someone doesn't have a bow and they're like close to getting one shot, you will save them with Clay Salvation and Swift Healing if you're in the range. So don't freak out if they don't have that shield. It's just helpful for me in this situation. But yeah, again, I'm going to keep cycling through. I'm not using Nature's Blessing, which I should be to help with mana management for my team. And so basically, you guys saw there that I had Flash Wave up, but I decided not to use it because I'm like, oh yeah, the second mechanic is coming. I end up using it anyway, which is kind of funny. And then I use Deadly Marker to try to get my cooldown back. As you guys can see, it's so fast when everyone's using Deadly Marker. We're going into the next rush mechanic. We fortunately were able to lock him here, which is really good. So again, I used my Invincible Wall. I got everyone in it. And now I'm paying attention to health bars. Is anyone going to miss it? Had a couple people miss it again. So essentially, we're going to have our... and this guy doesn't have a bow, right? So he's going to take damage. Or he's not going to have that shield come up. So again, I'm going to use Clay Salvation right away. I'm going to save them from that. And then also our tank is awesome because he's using Bastion, which really helped, right? And so this guy said rip because he thought he was dead. But the tank and I think pretty much saved that fight there. And so if your tank's good, he'll be able to use Bastion on that as well because he'll recognize, hey, that's also a really dangerous spot. All right, so the next circle mechanic happened again, which means, guys, that the chain mechanic's back. So we're back at it. We're charging our flash wave up. We're going to get it as full as possible. We're going to hit as many of our teammates as possible. And then we're going to jump right into this. So I still have Blitz up, which is what I'm going to use. I identify, okay, the star has it this time for sure. So that means I got to figure out, okay, who's got the axe, which is my tank over here. Now, guys, when you get below 50%, right, it's below 50% and the chain mechanic happens, you're going to have the blue axe above your head, which means you can't transfer this. So this is where things change a little bit. So essentially, when we go through this, I can't, take the dot off of him, but I'm still going to do the same exact thing that I did earlier. I'm going to run on top of him. I'm going to use flash wave. Who was ever on the star, I'm not going to use it on him. I'm going to use it on the opposite side. So I'm going to use it on these two. And then I'm probably going to give him a little bit of extra heals because he's just going to take a little bit more damage because of the dot. You want to give a little bit of extra heals. If it's your tank, you probably don't have to. But essentially, you typically want to give this guy extra heals because when you don't take the axe from someone, honestly, guys, people start freaking out and they think you're not going to heal them. They start running around. They think, oh, no, we're going to die. And then they end up getting themselves killed because of that. It's a really psychological thing to have that above your head. And so because I have the blue axe, I can't take it. And so, which is totally fine. So essentially, I'm just going to give him Fountain of Life right away. Even though I put Flash Wave on him, as you can see, he was able to hit it. I want to give him a little bit of extra heals because he's going to be taking a lot of damage, and I can't take the axe from him right away. And so essentially, this guy, once he blows up the spinning axe, he did it a little bit off there. He should have let the axe blow up first and then run to take the axe. Totally fine. But hey, we're gonna readjust. We're gonna move back over to our two guys here. And essentially now I still have the blue axe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run and give it to the guy with the star, right? So basically we, if I'm able to, which hopefully it doesn't bug. Yeah. So basically we're able to give this guy the blue axe, which allows me to alleviate pressure from the guy with the red axe. Okay. And so basically we're going to go through the same rotation. We're going to heal people along the way as best as we can. And basically I'm going to try to take this axe from this guy, which I was able to do. And basically, we're going to use all of our AoE spells as best as we can here. And so, again, I'm just going to give it right to the tank because our primary job is to heal people. As you see, this guy is pretty weak. I know the tank is going to be able to get out of his stun in a couple seconds here. And so, like 2 seconds. So basically, I give it to him knowing that he's going to take it because it relieves pressure off of us. And then we're able to heal this guy up fully, which is really nice. And so basically we're going to use our AoE heals here. I use my, my invincible wall. And then I also have other heals as well. They gave him the axe. Again, I don't recommend giving the last guy the axe because it's just kind of puts extra pressure on him. And as you can see, guys, even if someone is taking damage, I'm going to be running to that area, even though I know that I'm going to take the spinning axe. So don't freak out if you have the spinning axe. Still try to help your teammates because this mechanic can essentially one-shot people if they get hit or if they get caught off guard. And then we're basically going to go into it, right? So now that we're in essentially this is like, I call it like the DPS clutch phase, right? So essentially, if you see that your DPS has been doing a lot of DPS throughout this boss fight, and they're doing, pretty good job. And you think, okay, hey, we're at this point where we're below 30%. We're almost at 25% during his rush mechanic. What I want you guys to get in the habit of, again, if they have enough DPS, is I want you guys to tell people to pop Guardians, right? Because essentially the DPS guys should have their DPS Guardians out. So I see, okay, we're below 25%. We still haven't even hit his first one, so I'm going to quickly type, oh, of course it covers it up. I'm going to quickly type Guardians, right? And then you'll start to see everyone will start popping their Guardians, which is including yourself. So I'm going to use my Guardian here too. One, it'll give me more of that cooldown speed and then the shield in case I mess up. But now I'm also going to be using my flash wave because I know that some people, keep getting hit by it. So now I'm going to use flash wave before he does his spin. And then I'm also going to have my clay salvation ready in case people take more. So this guy, crazy enough, right? I hit all 4 of these people, all 4 of these guys with flash wave, and the guy that was off to my left didn't get it. So I'm still going to have my clay salvation up. We're able to get him fully, but he has a bow as well, which helped him out. We also have Bastion on there too, which was really helpful. And so look at me, I'm actually even messing up there. So yeah, basically guys, that is how I run this dungeon. We should have enough damage to complete it before the second one, but I always want to be cycling through my deadly markers as often as possible, my curses, and then I also want to be prepping my heals the best that I can. So that it alleviates pressure from us. That's what we want to do. And we also want to make it so that our DPS aren't freaking out. Because as we know, guys, sometimes the DPS get a little antsy during these boss mechanics, right? And wow, look at the very last one. Not a single person missed it with 0.83%. I wish this would have happened throughout this dungeon. But hey, we did really well. And honestly, this is a tier 15. We had about 3 minutes left, so which works. I've completed all the way up to 18, I believe. So basically, if I can get a group going, that would be awesome. But yeah, guys, basically, whenever this happens, always say GG to everyone. They did a good job. And, helping people out is what I like to do in this game. And who knows, maybe, and for you guys' context, these guys were saying really nice things to me throughout this too, which is really cool. And so basically, yeah, I found out later that these guys were talking to me with that as a healer, which, as you guys know, like, that's all we really need in this game. Well, not all we need, but it really helps us to get guys that actually complement our heals. I mean, like, for real, guys, like, that's why I go into random parties, not just to get, a GG or something like that, but it helps, right? Because I want to be able to help as many people as possible. And I hope this guide kind of helped you guys figure that out, walk through my thought process. Hopefully it wasn't a little bit too, overdone or too over-explained, but you guys know how I like to do it. I like to be able to explain to you guys the best that I can. But if you guys are interested, I'm going to be just leaving. I'm going to restart the dungeon. And essentially, I think we're oh my word, we're getting a little bit more compliments, which is kind of funny. So that was really nice. It's really nice to see people, supporting the healing community out there. I know that this will happen to you guys too, if you're able to apply the stuff that I'm talking about. But yeah, guys, that's basically all I have for this video. Stick around if you just want to see it from start to finish without any sort of commentary. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.
I'll get my revenge. Human, I'll kill you. it.